THS Morning Show with Mr. Brenner and Mrs. Keating.
Good morning, Trojans, and welcome to the morning show with Mr. Brenner and Mrs. Keating with today's special guest, Mrs. Sydney MacDonald, our choral director and our chorus teacher. We're so excited to have her today. Thanks for being with us today, Mrs. MacDonald.
Thanks for having me. I'm silly excited about this.
We're really excited that you're joining us today as well. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the show today on this Friday, December 4th, 2020. As always, if you would, please stop, stand, and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now please join me in a moment of silent meditation. We changed our silent meditation photo here today to a winter scene because it is starting to become that season and the snow is starting to fall. None here right now, but it's getting to be not the nice Mount Pisgah swimming weather anymore. So I figured we better change our silent meditation photo. All right, Mrs. Keating, on to you for announcements.
All right, I feel like I have a different setup here today. As you can see, I'm working from home today, so I feel a little off kilter today, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. So today we're so excited. Monday, we're set to return to in-person instruction tomorrow, or on Monday rather, and athletics are also athletic practices are set to start on that date. We will discontinue the morning show and school returns in person, and so this will be our last scheduled show today. And next week, we're going to have our holiday cheer in the junior senior high school. We're going to do 10 days of holiday cheer. An email will be sent to the student body to let you know what each day will be. We're going to start Monday with Sparkle and Shine. I can't wait to see Mr. Brenner rocking his sparkle throughout the high school. Tuesday, holiday hat. Wednesday, red versus green. Boys wear green, girls wear red. Thursday, snowflakes. And we can't wait to see everybody back. We're so excited. Also, congrats to the following members of the Trojan Band. They submitted their virtual auditions and qualified for the PMEA District 8 District Bands. So we have Elizabeth Greer, 3rd place, and Jackson Simpson, 5th place. They will find out shortly if they qualify to submit an audition for All-State. We send them the best of luck, and we also want to do a special shout out to Ms. Erdman for all her hard work and leadership. Great job. Also, another congratulations to Ms. Ostrander and some of her freshmen, her first year kids earning their FFA jackets. We have Landon Jenkins, Olivia Champolver, Ben Cook, Garrett Seymour, Zach Wolf, Calden Martin, and Hart Hausnick. Congratulations.
Great job, everyone.
Yes, congratulations. And on to you for news, Mr. Brenner.
President-elect Biden has asked Dr. Anthony Fauci to be the White House Chief Medical Advisor and to stay in his current position. Right now, there's a wildfire in Southern California, which has started as a house fire. Because of high winds, 7,200 acres and many houses have already been consumed by the fire. Boeing, the aircraft company, has received a large order for its 737 MAX. Many of you may remember that aircraft was grounded because they had a couple crashes and it killed 346 people, and it was a big financial loss for Boeing as well. Just last week, the FFA signed off on the fixes to the flight control system, which was blamed for the crashes. So hopefully that aircraft is going to be up and running safely, and people will not be hurt anymore. In Alaska, 2 people are missing from a huge mudslide, which was the size of 2 football fields and destroyed 4 houses. That's all for news today.
That's scary stuff.
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit there, Mrs. Keating, at just the worst time. Mrs. MacDonald was going to have to take over on sports because, well, you know.
Oh no. Well, hopefully that we work out okay here. All right, so here we go. We've got for sports, Alabama head coach Nick Saban is cleared to travel with the team to LSU after COVID-19 sidelined him for the past few days. Penn State will travel to Rutgers tomorrow for a noon game. Notre Dame takes on Syracuse at home. The Eagles and Packers have an afternoon game on Sunday at 4:24. Steelers play Monday night against the team, which we know they just played on Wednesday, so they've got a short week. Washington, I'm sure, has been preparing for the 11-0 Steelers. And then Tuesday, we have a makeup game from earlier in the season that was a COVID cancellation with the Cowboys and the Ravens. That's all for sports, Mr. Brenner.
Who's going to win that game? Is it going to be the Ravens or the Cowboys?
It's probably, if I had to be a betting person, it depends how many players the Ravens had back. They still looked pretty good, even with all of those players out in the out with COVID situations. But I'm sure that the Cowboys aren't looking so great this year. So I'm sorry to say that we have lots of Cowboys fans in our building. I know Mr. Gentile's hoping that they turn their season around, but they're not looking so great. The Ravens looked great, and they had some of their practice team out there on Wednesday. So
Okay.
I think it doesn't look great for the Cowboys.
So back in 1918, France cancels its trade treaties in order to compete in the post-war economic battles. In 1952, the Grumman XS-2F1 aircraft made its first flight. Back in 1981, President Ronald Reagan broadens the powers of the CIA by allowing spying in the United States. And in 1992, President George H.W. Bush orders 28,000 troops to Somalia during the Somali Civil War. And that is our history today.
All right. For weather today, it's going to be a high of 46 degrees with a rain shower or two in spots this morning. And the possibility of rain is going to continue throughout the afternoon, depending on where you're at. Tonight, we're going to see a low of 34 with clouds and snow showers, and perhaps mixed in with some rain later on. And on to you, Mr. Brenner, for the COVID-19 update.
Sure. In the world of COVID-19, California is set to announce full closures of certain businesses such as bars, salons, and other high-risk businesses, as they're having a particular spike right now in the country. In our county here in Pennsylvania, we're now ranked 53 out of 67 in our infection rate. So comparatively, we are doing okay in that metric. Now, 6 people out of every 10,000 in our county will test positive for COVID each day. For comparison, and this is up from 5.9, so it's similar to what it was yesterday. For comparison, right now the worst county is Mifflin with 14.2 out of every 10,000 testing positive every day. And the lowest county is Susquehanna with 1.7 out of every 10,000 testing positive each day. Now, I wanted to share something about this because these numbers, when we compare ourselves to other counties, I was just realizing this morning as I was reviewing some of the COVID data that it's a little bit misleading, and we've been doing it all along. So I want to show a graph which I think kind of shows something that's worth looking at. Okay, so this is Pennsylvania in the blue compared to Bradford County in the, what is that, orange for a colorblind person? So,
yes, it is orange.
And
I was ready for that for you.
I
know orange is one of your colors.
Every viewer of the show.
I knew that. I knew I had to help.
Thanks. But you guys, like, you'll remember this. Like, we went through all of this, right? Like, in mid-March, we got out of school and our county was doing fine. It was low. It was really, really low. You know, and the world was concerned, but compared to the state, we were low. Then we got into September this year, and partway through September, you know, after school started, our county started to go up, and we're like, oh, COVID is here in Bradford County now. Then end September, beginning of October, it just shot up, right? And we said, okay, in our county, we've got a massive problem. COVID is getting to be really, really high. So that's the shoot up right here. Now, when I compare us to other counties in the COVID report each day, sometimes it seems like we're doing okay, you know, like sometimes we're down below the rest of the state, but I think it's important to see that it's not maybe that we're going down so far when we compare ourselves to everyone else, it's that the rest of the state is catching up to us. So I wanted to point that out because I thought it was an important piece of data that maybe we had been leaving out in the previous COVID updates, that that I found out about and that I wanted to just share and kind of show where we are compared to the rest of the state. Now, this graph here is the cases per 100,000 people in the population. So if you remember today, I said that we are about 6 cases out of every 10,000 people. That corresponds to where we are at 60 cases out of every 100,000. So that's that number right there. So today in that number, we're just a little bit higher than the rest of the state. So we'll see what happens in time. But this comes from a website, covidactnow.org, which has a lot of that data, which is interesting to look at. So I just wanted to show this graph because I thought that it was kind of important to see where we are when we compare ourselves to everyone else. It's not that we're we're that much better. Maybe it's just that everyone else is getting a lot worse too. So I wanted to share that just to maybe clear some things up.
That's my county where I'm at, had over 300 cases yesterday. So if that gives any perspective. Now it's much more populous, so that makes obviously a big difference. But we're definitely having some upticks here. But it's interesting to me, and it's things that I've never considered before, because I am from like a little bit of a different demographic area now. So it's all of these things you have to take into consideration is really interesting. But that map shows it's a little eye-opening, isn't it? And I think that's maybe the reason why some of the issues we may be having right now is because March, April, May, we didn't see nearly the issues that people around the state saw. Now we're seeing that and people are like, wasn't that big of a deal when it was such a big deal for everybody else in March. So we really have to take care of each other right now. So
absolutely,
fingers crossed that we get in a better spot soon.
So now we move into our favorite part of the show, which is our guest. So we want to welcome Mrs. MacDonald today and thank you for being our guest. We thought that it would be important to have you on the show today, and we're really excited because you are the person that has helped us and created a lot of the sound effects and jingles and stuff that we use on the show every day, including this one.
Welcome to the THS Morning Show with Mr. Brenner and Mrs. Keating.
So thank you, Mrs. MacDonald, for doing those things for us.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I really like listening to talk radio and things like that, and lots of podcasts. So I was like, I feel like it needs a jingle. Just whipped it up.
Yes. We were so excited. We felt so official that we had a jingle.
Yes, and I loved that the first jingle even had that annoying alarm that
that you knew irritated
we
me
ended up
so
cutting
much.
it out. So that's your voice, isn't it? You kind of modified
Yeah.
it a little bit to sound like a morning show announcer, but that's your voice, and
Yes,
and you put that together.
I did. Yeah, I just used my iPad and GarageBand, and I used the voice effects, and it's the little monster icon, and I just brought my voice all the way down, and it turned out pretty cool.
That's cool, and that's one of the skills you teach a lot of our students, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. In 7th grade, we talk about music notation, and then we incorporate that into recording and building that with GarageBand. And then in 8th grade, we step it up and we do other things within GarageBand using loops and form to create songs. So, yeah.
Cool.
I actually am I'm more familiar with that right now because I just finished and started working on my Apple badges yesterday. So I did my GarageBand for my iPad and Mac yesterday. That's awesome. I can't wait to start playing with that a little. It's fun. Maybe we're going to have a really kicked up.
Yeah, I really like using it on the iPad.
It's cool. It's cool.
Interesting that so much of what we've used to create the show is accessible to our students and everyone. We created this show using Zoom, and then you created our jingles using GarageBand, and that's stuff that all the students have access to. So we didn't do anything particularly astounding and technologically advanced. We're just kind of making it work. Maybe someday.
Isn't that pretty neat? Yeah, isn't it pretty neat? And maybe that is one thing that was neat in the age of COVID, that we found ways to get out there to each other and to see each other in the craziest of times, to be able to still communicate with each other. And families are doing holidays this way to stay safe, and it's still that human connection. So that was one of our most important things, and so it's really neat. But we love that you're you're bringing that out to the kids. And we can't wait to see, we love to see our teachers using the iPads and so effectively in the classroom and as educational tools. And we're so looking forward to moving on to that as we move forward with our MAC initiative. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at some of the photos that Mrs. MacDonald.
Oh, there's so many. There's some good ones in
Share.
here. We're so excited. Love to see you in action.
So where are you here?
That is actually on the Memorial Auditorium stage in 2008. So that was the spring musical my senior year, and that was in the performance of Guys and Dolls. So
Very cool. Right here in Troy.
Yep, it's an
2008
incredible
graduate.
action show.
yeah, it's really cool to do things on the stage that I grew up on. So it's like my own little home away from home.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, so here's some more photos, I think, from is this all your graduation year? It must be.
Well, except for that one on the bottom, that's my brother's graduation. So there's 5 of us Blade children, and we all came through Troy schools. And the one who's graduating is Michael. He's the 4th one. And then the one in the white shirt, my youngest brother, he's 8 years younger than me. So when I started here at Troy, he was actually my student for 2 years. So that was really fun to have your brother in your classes.
Did you,
Yes,
send
that's
him
cool.
to the office?
What was that?
Did you have to send him to the office?
No, I did threaten to write him up once. I was like, listen, it's real easy for me to call your mom.
That's funny.
I had my niece while I was student teaching, and my sister threatened her to death. Like, you will call her Miss Pattis. and then that's it. You will just pretend like you don't know her.
Yeah.
Don't make any issues.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
All right.
Oh, these are great.
Now we
Oh,
have,
the babies.
and one of these things is not like the others here.
That's right. Yeah. So we have my pupper in the middle there. That's Ringo Dingo Doggo. I think he's 5 or 6 year old border collie. We've had him for a couple years. He was a rescue, but he is an old man in a dog's body. He loves rocking chairs and and going for car rides and everything. So he's the baby. And then the one on the left with the Santa hat, that's Franz. And then the other 2 boys are Igor and Gustav. So they're all 3 named after famous classical composers. So they're my composer cats. And then, of course, Ringo is named after Ringo Starr from the Beatles. So they're all a very musical animal family.
I love it.
Very cool. What is this?
Our neighbor
dog.
dog, our border
a speaker? Is that like a massive speaker?
That is a massive speaker, one of 2 in our living room. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now we have some farm photos. Tell us a little bit about this.
Sure. So on the left, that is my husband and Ringo. It is his family farm that we've kind of joined up with. I had a small farm growing up. We did like 4-H sheep. And then I did a lot of equestrian riding and things like that. And then his family has had a farm for 20 years, and it's organic sheep and pigs and chickens and laying hens. He's I didn't realize what I was getting into when we got married, but it's kind of just become a real thing, and it's a lot of fun. And so he got me into that. And then the middle picture is the first time we had piglets on our farms, the only time that we've ever farrowed on our farm, and I was just obsessed with these piglets. They're so cute. They're like this big, and their mother's like 600 pounds. It's incredible. But so it was really fun to be able to do that. And then we've got the baby lambs on the far right too. They're the bottle babies. Of course, you want the ewes to be able to provide that milk for their lambs, so they have that. But it's really fun to have bottle babies because they're the ones who are the most friendly. So that one was trying to get milk out of my finger at the moment, but.
Just think about that, 600 pounds for that pig.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're huge, huge.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's really cool.
So
Mrs. Brenner and I actually had an opportunity at one point to go visit you, Mrs. MacDonald, at one of your farmers markets. And we got all sorts of chicken and good stuff, and it was delicious. We loved it. We made a big event out of this. I don't know if you remember, but the chicken that we bought was like the world's largest chicken. It was like a turkey-sized chicken. and it was a blast.
I
It was
remember
a
you
lot of
talking
fun.
about that.
Yeah, I think it was like an 8-pound chicken. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We sell at a farmer's market in Binghamton. That's my side hustle. Every Saturday we go up to Binghamton, and we do 999 organic chicken, pasture raised, during the summer, and then we usually do a round of turkeys too, and they end up pretty big also. I think this year we had like a 32-pound turkey was our biggest one, our prize bird there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Didn't Mrs. Brenner and I get the last one?
Yes, that was
We
the
got-
last chicken.
We got the
of season.
999th.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that right in the midst of stocking up for before we went into quarantine for COVID? Didn't you guys buy
We went
loads
Yeah.
of groceries, loads of meat?
Yeah, there was such a meat shortage in all the groceries.
There was, right?
People flocked to the farmers market to stock up on meat there. So we sold out of chicken and pork and lamb earlier than we usually do.
Right. I remember that now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember him saying, "What are we going to do with all this chicken? We have to do something with it." Oh, and this has to be Mr. Brenner's favorite because there's something very exciting in this picture. And I know to you it's your husband, but to
Yes.
Mr. Brenner.
Yes. I gave this
John Deere green there, Mr. Brenner.
I gave this picture its very own whole slide because it's a great John Deere. What's that, a 5075?
Yes, it is.
Look at that. That is a beautiful tractor. Looks like a pretty new tractor.
Yep. I think that was the day he brought it home.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was his first tractor of his very own. So that's his baby. Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. What do you use that tractor for?
He uses it for a lot of field work, but we also, we only live about 10 minutes from the main farm, which is at his parents' house. So he takes that over for hay season and we park it at the main farm. But then when it's on our property, it's used for a lot of brush hogging and then field maintenance work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he just takes it for a drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you use it at all?
I
in the
never
wintertime?
thought in a million years I'd hear the word brush hogging twice in a week, but I did because Mr. Brenner used it once this week too, and it was the second time. I am doing so many things here in Troy I never thought I'd do in here, so it's awesome. I'm learning all kinds of things. I know what that is now.
Yes. Do you use the tractor in the wintertime at all, or does it kind of get put away for the winter?
Oh no, we use it in the winter too. This is the first year that we managed to get our pigs schedule at Leona Meat Plant before the snowfall, but usually he uses that to like tote water up and take care of the animals when it's snowing out too. So
Very cool.
yeah, and he makes sure to turn it on and get it all warmed up when it gets cold out. So
Now, your husband is also is he a choir teacher or a music? What does he teach?
This year, with some restructuring that they had of their music program, they hired a couple new music teachers, but he teaches elementary music and choir. So we met in music school, but so he does 2 full-time jobs as a music teacher and a farmer. But yeah, and he also, he is our accompanist a lot of times here at the school too. He is my go-to accompanist. So I can say, hey, can you just like whip this out and come over to the school? That'd be great.
Awesome.
That's cool. Well, we know we really appreciate it when he comes and joins us for concerts and things, and he's always welcome here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have one final farm photo, I think, right here. Tell us a little bit about who this guy is.
That was one of my first round of like laying hens that was like my own project. And I don't remember what kind of chicken this is. It was a mixed flock, but his hairstyle was really my favorite. So I made sure he kind of just looked like an awkward teenager for all of his life, with the little tuft of hair on the top. But so that was my first round of laying hens that we had, and we at our own farm. We have 150 laying hens at the main farm, but this was my own flock.
Well, maybe some of our student viewers can take this as some inspiration for their hairstyles coming up.
Right. When they decide to, straighten out the permed mullets, if you just go for the straight up look, I think that is a good way to go.
And then we can transition into the flock of seagulls down. They can go up and then they can start transitioning them down and over the eyes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, Mrs. MacDonald, how about these 2 photos on the right?
All right. So the one in the middle was just like, it was a very impromptu photo shoot that we did on a choir tour in college. And that was at a performance at Yale. We were able to go up there and spend some time, perform there for a conference. And so that's just like standard choir nerd photo there. But then the one on the right was from a choir performance, also in college, where we went overseas. We went to Ireland, England, and Wales. And our big function, we performed all over the place, but we performed in a competition. It was called the, Llangollen International Eisteddfod. So that was in Wales, and it was the Choir of the World competition. And that is the trophy from our women's choir taking first place. So
That's
passed that around
wonderful.
and got to hold it. It was real neat.
Very
That was a
cool.
really great experience to go and sing over there. We sang in St. Patrick's Cathedral in Ireland. We performed in a bunch of places in England, including the church where Shakespeare is buried, and got to explore too, in addition to performing. But it was a lot of fun.
What a neat experience. What an awesome thing to do and be part of.
Yeah,
That's
and there's so many
that's on
stories
the
from it too. You know, not only like the performance experience, but like when we were in Wales, we stayed in a hotel, and it was pretty sketchy because, you know, we were from Mansfield, Pennsylvania, and we tried to save as much money as we could in our bookings, but it was pretty shady. There was like an asbestos truck outside, but we didn't pick up on any of those going in. There were things. There was one room that didn't have any beds in it, and we just didn't catch on to that. But we had men in suits knocking on all of our doors at 7:00 the next morning because the hotel chain had gone under, and they literally kicked us out because they went bankrupt overnight.
oh my
And
goodness.
so we were in all of the Welsh newspapers as the homeless American choir because we didn't have anywhere
Oh
to
my
stay.
goodness. We actually just discussed the Ireland, Wales, Scotland trip is on the Keating's the short list, but I'm very Welsh and Mr. Keating's very Irish, but there's actually, my maiden name is Powys, and there's a Powys Castle in Wales. So maybe my riches is,
Yeah.
is in Wales and I don't even know.
Yes.
You have to go
Awesome.
reclaim your home.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna have a new version of the crown. That's gonna
I'm going to
It's gonna be
reclaim the
fabulous.
police station as the principal's house, and you can go reclaim a castle.
Yes.
Okay, Mrs.
Goals.
MacDonald, how about these?
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with the one in the top right because that's actually the stage that we performed on at the Eisteddfod in Wales, and it was a huge cultural event. Of course, this is like a world competition, so there were choirs and dance groups from all over the world, all sorts of different cultures, all sorts of different styles of singing. And then they had different grouping categories. So we had a lot of holding space. We had opportunities to watch, but then also like in the backstage green room, we got a chance to interact with some of the choirs and the other groups. So that was really, really neat. And then that was aired on British television on BBC. So we got to do that as well. And the one on the bottom, that is the choir that we performed with. It's the Mansfield University Concert Choir. And I've performed with a lot of different choirs at the community level and within school and things, but that is definitely the highest level performing group that I've been a part of. So it was really influential in a lot of the ways that I structure the way that I do choir. But it was also really neat on a personal level too, to be involved in something like that. And opened a lot of doors, like the picture up in the top left. It's a horrible picture of him, but the man in the very back with the flowing golden locks, that is a very famous composer by the name of Eric Whitacre. And because of our performances with the concert choir, we were invited, if anyone wanted to perform in Carnegie Hall for his new competition, or his new premiere, his New York City premiere of a new work that he had written for, it's like a musical, a kind of tech rock opera, but it was called Paradise Lost. And so a couple of us from the choir, we were able to rehearse with him and perform in Carnegie Hall for his New York City premiere, and then we were able to get a picture with him afterwards.
Cool.
Very cool.
What was he like? Was he a cool guy? Was he fun?
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like Prince Charming from Shrek without being so much of a jerk. Like, and he was really, but he also really wanted you to know what you were doing. Because at this level, you're expected to be a professional musician if you're going to perform at Carnegie Hall. We had 4 rehearsals and then the concert. And he, of this choir with like 300 or 400 people in it, he would call you out if you didn't know your stuff and be like, you shouldn't need to ask for pitches at this point. You either need to figure it out or get out. Like he was really cool if you knew what you were doing. If you were not prepared and not ready to be there, he called you out on it.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So here on the right, we have a picture of Mrs. MacDonald waking up in the morning, getting ready to start her day.
Yep.
Every day.
That's every day. That's exactly. I wish that I had that much makeup on when I woke up in the morning.
Yeah. And that's you and your husband on the left after you've woken up, and it's like, good morning, right?
Right.
You love it.
Stretch in and then we go for the dip. That's how it works every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So the one on the left with my husband, that was before we were together. That was a performance at Mansfield University of My Favorite Year was the name of the show. I'd never heard of it before that point, but it was a movie. It was turned into a stage show. And the 2 of us were cast as the romantic leads. And that's actually how we started to get together. And then, the rest is history. So that was our romantic interest was built during the show with that building of chemistry. So it's my little.
What a great story. Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Mushy. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So this is exciting because this is the stuff that you don't get to see all the time, but these are some operatic performances. I discovered while I was learning how to, construct my voice and how to train, how to perform in operas, and it really became like a really nerdy love of mine. So the top left is, I am actually the man in that photo. Because I was cast as Cherubino in The Marriage of Figaro. And because Cherubino is a teenage boy who is trying to negotiate his hormones at the time, it's prepubescent, so it's played by a lower soprano. So I got the chance to perform in that avenue, and that was really cool for me. Mr. MacDonald was not a super fan of that at the time because I really got into the method acting of it. And I was like, I need your clothes for 2 weeks because I'm going to live the way you live. And I walked around campus, like in his clothes. I was followed and I tried to get like the walk down and like the personality of it. So he did not want to be around me for a little bit. But it was really fun for me to get into to do that one. And then the bottom picture is I was the one in pink as spirit number 3 in The Magic Flute. But that was a really neat show to do. It's actually my favorite opera, so that was a lot of fun.
The picture on the right is, I just think when somebody makes you upset in school, you should have this on a stick and just go, no. Because you just really look like you're about to tell somebody what to do and where to go. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Now we have a special treat here. We get to see you actually in performance. Before I play it, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you are and what you're doing?
So this is that BBC, what was aired on television from the performance in Wales. So we did a couple different categories, but this was our I think it was our small group choir, even though there's a lot of us there, and we did 3 different pieces. So this would just be a piece of that performance.
Okay, so and you said the best place to start is at 3:31, right?
3:31. That way we don't have to, because there's 3 different songs in it.
Okay.
Tell me where is the road I can call my own, that I left, that I lost so long ago. All these years I have wandered, oh, where
So that's very cool.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
my little 15 seconds of fame there.
I love it. Very cool.
Yeah.
It was really neat seeing you in like your natural element. It's so, we get to see you, having fun with the kids, and it was fun to see how you got to where you are now and what inspired you to be there. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's neat to be able to, like, it's opened up a lot of doors. I performed up in Binghamton after I graduated with the opera company up there, but I've done a lot of community stuff too after that. So it's one of those things, just need to remember to keep making music.
I have to say that opera background comes into play, not for the singing for me, because first of all, nobody ever wants to hear me sing. My sister-in-law has a theater minor, and my wedding dress was a corset back. And let me tell you something, I never had such a better shape in my life than her tying me into that dress than I did ever. She did an opera in college, and she knew how to get me in that. It was fabulous. So see, you get skills from things that you don't even realize are important.
Yeah.
The little things you take with you, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's about time that we need to end the show, but this was a great show. We really enjoyed having you. Thanks for supporting our show every single day with the help with the sound clips. And I will end the show, as we always do, with your THS Chamber Choir recording the Alma Mater. Is there anything you want to say about this clip? Because we listen to it every day.
Sure. Yeah, this is actually, this was the last recording that I made of a choir before COVID hit. And this was the final performance for for last year's chamber choir, which we didn't realize at the time, but it ended up working out really well.
Very cool.
Thank you so much always for everything that you do for the Trojan community, and always your positivity every day. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Thanks.
O Trojans, list to our joyous song in praise of the red and white, and honor your alma mater as long as you dare to be true and do right. The good times we've had as the days speed away will hold in memory dear. We'll honor our high school forever and day. For our dear THS we will cheer.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.